Hey, it's Luke from LT Gaming, and today we're looking at an upcoming strategy game that is very openly trying to scratch that old school Total War itch. And I'm gonna be honest, that's something I very much welcome. The dev is basically trying to say here, I don't love where Total War's been heading, so I'm building my own, and I've got to give that some respect. This is Rule of Iron Dark Age, and the pitch here is pretty simple. Build your realm on a turn-based campaign map, then settle it with absolutely massive real-time battles where all the usual elements of positioning, morale, and fatigue apply. And if you enjoy the idea of tens of thousands of troops colliding while you desperately try to hold the line like it's 2006 again, tap like on the video. Not because you have to, but because it tells the algorithm you're a person of culture. So Rule of Iron Dark Age is being made by Eisengeist Studio, and it's a turn-based campaign plus real-time battle setup here. On the campaign side, you're running either an established realm or a smaller rising nation, growing cities and castles, managing population, building out infrastructure, and setting up your economy. Then of course, when diplomacy fails, because it always seems to do, the game drops you into real-time battles at a 1-to-1 scale. Yeah, every soldier here is simulated, and combat is driven by movement, formation, density, cohesion, and straight-up physics. And if you're dying to get your hands on this one already because the pitch sold it to me immediately, the release window on Steam is currently sitting at end of 2026. Now the reason this one grabbed me is because it's not the dev's first attempt at huge battles done by an indie. There was a previous title that actually slipped by me, and that's rare for me. You know, on LT Gaming we basically capture all these upcoming opportunities. And yeah, it was a Napoleonic wargame, believe it or not, called Napoleon Rule of Iron, and I just played it recently thanks to the dev for sending me a key, and it genuinely has massive battles despite the rough edges. So it's a clear demonstration he knows how to do gameplay at scale. So it's not just talk, the developer has a passion to deliver battles that actually look and feel like, well, battles of course. The scale of the battles in the Total War games has always been a problem. I played Napoleon Total War the other day in the Battle of Waterloo, and while it's a really impressive battle for its setup, the scale is just all off and not right. It does seem like this developer is going to try and solve that problem, and I'm excited. Let me know what you think in the comments below. For me, the hook here is that Rule of Iron Dark Age is chasing the feeling that a lot of us think we're going to get when we boot up a grand strategy wargame, and then we kind of don't. Because the Steam pitch itself leans hard into this idea that battles are won on positioning and movement. Not this kind of feeling that my swordsmen have a plus 4% melee attack just because I researched a new skill tree or a technology. High ground really matters for archers in this one, trees block arrows, cavalry hits like a truck, and morale is treated like the real currency during battle. It's not just everyone politely fighting until their HP bar disappears. I'm going to use that word guys, but it feels a lot more immersive when battles are based on more dynamic factors. I don't always want my HP to fall to 0 and then I know my unit loses. It really does ruin it for me. On the strategic layer side, which is very exciting because recently we had Strategos and a lot of people just really miss that strategic Total War layer. This game is trying to bring it to you. But it's not just paint the map, there's a proper sense of building a realm over time. The dev has discussed population that could be recruited into armies, units that replenish from local pools, and even the idea that disbanded troops don't just totally vanish, they settle back into the region. This is a kind of system detail that makes the campaign layer feel like it actually feeds the wars you're fighting, and of course, it's going to be more immersive. There we go, I said it again. But guys, I'm genuinely interested. Is the strategic layer absolutely vital to you? I know a lot of people missed it in Strategos, as I said, so let me know in the comments below. Do you want that combination of tactical and strategic layer? A great example of where it was actually demonstrated well was Carthage Bellum Punicum, so check out that video if you're interested, a really cool looking upcoming wargame. So let's have a look at how the game is actually developing. The big focus lately has actually been the campaign layer, and I really love that because a lot of Total War-like games get obsessed with battles and then the campaign ends up feeling like a vending machine that spits out those fights. Here it's being built with a really strong simulation-first mentality. One of the coolest ideas is that the terrain you fight on is generated directly from the campaign map, something we've seen before but still pretty cool. So if you're standing on a hill tile, you're fighting on a hill, for example. The dev even demonstrated in a recent YouTube video the tools for previewing terrain anywhere on the map. I'll make sure to link his channel in the description below, go and subscribe and show your support. This sort of detail really matters because it brings the campaign map to life. If you want to plan an ambush, for example, it makes it more realistic. And then the dev talks about not loving that kind of classic 20 unit cap feeling. So instead he's leaning towards systems where the game naturally discourages doom stacking through economy, fronts, and later potentially supply. So he wants a less gamey system and more emergent warfare is my feeling from this one. Then there's a character side. Generals and leaders aren't just static units where you attach things for buffs. The dev is aiming for organic traits gained through what characters actually do, and even the possibility of internal politics turning into an independence crisis later in a campaign. Basically, your successful war hero might become too successful and decide he's the main character now, a bit like me, Luke, at LT Gaming, how I deal with Tom. I jest, of course, and this is a perfect time to have a quick interlude. Our statistics show that not all of you are subscribed to the channel, so please do subscribe. We're a really fast-growing channel, and if you want to find these sort of games, you need to be here, so hit that subscribe button. Both me and Tom really appreciate it, and I promise not to remove him from power anytime soon. Finally, wrapping up what's in development, economy-wise, there's a heavy emphasis on trade routes and visible world feedback. Trade carts, roads upgrading visually over time, and local supply and demand concepts so trade value can diminish as empires sprawl. It's the kind of stuff that keeps the map alive, and I really do enjoy it when they implement this kind of thing. I want to see those castles, those roads, and all that infrastructure on the actual map. I think it really improves the game. And modding is being positioned as a real pillar here, including modding of the campaign map with that really old school mentality that people can make their own stuff with this. Well done, dev. Now, because we're LT Gaming, we have to do the responsible thing and talk reality. This is a solo indie project, and games like this are brutally hard to make, and as I'm finding out talking to a lot of these devs, they cost a lot of money. Even if the vision here is perfect, the places where it could run into problems are quite obvious. You need AI that can handle both campaign, strategy, and large-scale real-time battles, and that's very difficult to do. Performance is another one. Simulating every soldier is awesome, right up until it becomes a slideshow during the moment you really needed your cavalry to actually respond. Content scope is also a trap here. When you're building Total War but indie, you're signing up for factions, rosters, balance, UI, diplomacy, sieges, progression, and the endless polish layer that makes the difference between interesting prototype and I can't stop playing this. All of that is a huge amount of work for the developer to do, and it's gonna be a stretch. He pulled off the real-time battles in his Napoleon game, but this is a totally different project. It will also be interesting to know how he will deliver this. Maybe it's early access, maybe he delivers parts of it in stages, we just don't know yet. As always, when we find these projects, there's amazing promise here, but it's also the kind of project where you want to follow it with cautious optimism, not just blind hype. And thank you, many of you let me know in the comments of the Ahoy video that that was the case with these types of games. But that's part of what we do here at LT Gaming, we find and comment on these speculative projects so we can absolutely destroy your wishlist. Right, let's do a quick look at comparisons, because of course Total War is not even subtle here. This is basically the direct one that we have to look at. You can see and feel the DNA of those games in this one almost immediately. And recently I installed and started playing a campaign in Medieval Total War, the first one, and really enjoyed it. That game had a huge impact on me as a kid, and I really think it still holds up today. So a modern indie title in 2026 has to at least challenge that level. Then of course recently we had Strategos, which did have some awesome concepts like delayed orders, but completely missed the strategic layer that many of you wanted. So this game has the ambition to achieve those goals. Whether it can get there depends on the developer and our support. Do try and support it, wishlist it. I'll leave links to Steam below, also the Discord of this game and their YouTube channel. What I really want from Rule of Iron Dark Age is for this thing to do both layers really well and for it to be an immersive wargaming experience. Because the best campaign layers don't just send you into fights, they make you care about them. Losing a battle should sting because that army was built from your realm, trained over time, tied to characters you've watched rise, and pulled from a population system that actually has consequences. And then the battles just have to be good, and honestly what I've seen so far, they look pretty cool. But I'll let you judge for yourselves. So yeah, Rule of Iron Dark Age is absolutely one to watch if you miss that classic Total War feeling. But you also want something that tries to push battles back towards tactics, morale, movement with a campaign layer that actually matters. Make sure to do all that YouTube stuff, we really appreciate it. Like, comment, subscribe, we've so many awesome projects on the way at LT Gaming. As always, I've been Luke, and I'll see you on a video very, very soon.